Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bellefontaine, Ohio, Bellefontaine High School. I'm Joe Birmingham. This is Birminology on the podcast. This is Tavien St. Clair, 2025 quarterback from Bellefontaine. You are, I think, the third 2025 prospect we've ever had on this show. So that in itself is somewhat exclusive, rare. You know, how does it feel for you, Tavien, just to absorb everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks? And I think we should start with the fact that Ohio State offered you a week ago and blah, blah, blah. That's cool. But is that life-changing? Is it hard to deal with it all?
I'd say it's not really hard to deal with. It's just more of, it's a blessing for sure.
Yeah.
Just getting the opportunity to play on a big stage like that. So, it's not hard just because the people around the community and the people that support me and stuff like that, like Coach Brown, just make it easy for me. They kind of take the weight off and just let me be a kid. And I think it's just fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I was here a year ago, right at the start of you picking up offers. I think you just got your first offer maybe like a couple weeks before that. And one of the things we talked about was just how rare it has been over the last 30 years to see Division I college coaches coming through this high school. It hasn't happened a lot lately. And now it seems like every week there's 5 or 6, coaches. You see USC coming through and Ohio State and Alabama. And there's a lot of pressure that gets put on you, I think, maybe more than you understand at this point in your life. Do you feel that at all? Or is it like, hey, this is pretty cool. Here comes Lincoln Riley, or not Lincoln Riley, but, an emissary of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
How neat is it to know that people are paying that close attention?
Like I said earlier, it's a blessing and it's super cool. I mean, I don't really think of it as just like a chance to, it's just more of a chance to show like what I can do, really. It's really fun hearing, I'm about to get pulled out of class to go throw for USC or something like that. So it's just been cool that the community has supported the way they have, since it hasn't happened in a long time. And it's just fun, I guess.
Yeah, you've had a busy couple of weeks, notwithstanding the offer from Ohio State, which we'll talk about as we get along, but you did the Elite 11 camp. You had the Under Armour camp. You have had coaches in and out of here. You gave up baseball this year, which is one of the things that drew me to you a year ago, because I'm a pitcher and I look at your frame, I'm like, if I could have been that tall, I would have been making a lot of money, I think, playing baseball. And unfortunately now I'm here regretting every moment of my life since. But you get a chance to do all this, and in the meantime, you're having to get yourself physically ready. You look much different physically than you did even the last time you walked down the tunnel at Ohio State in November.
Right.
What have you been doing to aside from giving up baseball and focusing almost exclusively on football and playing some basketball too, but what have you done to help facilitate this change?
I mostly just say embracing the fact that I'm pretty much set on playing football in college. Yeah. So just embracing the fact that I don't have to get ready, making sure I'm physically and mentally ready to play college football whenever they need me to, and just being the best version of myself I can be every day, whether that's socially, physically, like getting stronger and stuff like that in the weight room. So it's mostly just to get better every single day is been my drive.
There's a mantra in the military that I think bleeds over to other parts of life, which is embrace the suck, right? Like, the work isn't always fun, but it obviously has a positive end result. When you get an opportunity to get pulled out of class to throw for Ohio State, and that throwing session leads to a conversation 3 hours later where they say, hey, we've decided to offer you a scholarship. I know every scholarship matters, every opportunity matters, but you can only pick one school.
Right.
But that said, you grow up an hour away from Columbus, and Ohio State means something different. Can you just walk me through the emotion of that day and how maybe unexpected it was to have that conversation come when it did?
Yeah, so it was definitely unexpected for me, just because I had so many conversations with Coach Dennis before and the staff, talked to him every week. So It just wasn't. I wasn't expecting it. I knew it was going to be a good throwing session. I've been having really good throwing sessions this off season, but like you said, living an hour away from Columbus is just growing up. You watch Ohio State football.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch a lot of college football, but like Ohio State was on every Saturday. So I mean, I was really excited. It's a big time offer for sure. It's just one of the top programs in the country, so getting that opportunity to play there is amazing.
Which Ohio State quarterback that you've watched growing up do you feel you most closely relate to as a player? No pressure. I mean, it's just Justin Fields or Dwayne Haskins or JT Barrett or CJ Stroud. I mean, none of these guys are any good. So no pressure, but which guy are you?
See, my favorite one that I watched was Justin Fields, but I don't run like he runs. I mean, he's just different.
Yeah.
But, someone like Dwayne Haskins or CJ Stroud is probably more my lane just because of, like, their touch and how they throw the ball and things like that. They're more of a passer first. So I'd say one of those two probably.
As you had the conversation with Corey Dennis a week ago, what did he say, like, he thought had changed? Because, as you mentioned, not only have you been speaking to them every week for the last year, but you've camped there last summer. Mm-hmm. They watched you and evaluated you as a sophomore. They got an opportunity. Ryan Day got to watch you at the Elite 11 because he was there with his son RJ participating. Same thing at the Under Armour camp. So, like, these are really unique opportunities that you had just by being out and competing, right? Mm-hmm. But what did they say they've seen, like, difference-wise? And where's the jump been made?
The first thing they say is a physical change. Went from being about 185 pounds last year to now I'm up to 213. So it's the physical change is there. But mostly just like the maturity. I have more confidence now. They feel like they can tell, like, just by how I interact with people or how I walk, like, just the confidence is there. And really just, like, not really taking it so heavy, I'd say. Just kind of, like, allowing people and coaches to come and see what I can do and just embracing the fact that I want to be a big-time quarterback, and this is what comes along with it. I
think there's a weird blessing and a curse that comes with being from a small town. Like, you don't really get, like, too weighed down by the pressures of this type of stuff because you have to go clean the garage on Saturday or whatever. But at the same time, because you aren't always around those dudes, maybe sometimes you're not as confident as you should be based on what you're capable of doing, but that's simply because you aren't used to stacking against other people that are of your same caliber.
Right.
When you get a chance to compete at the Elite 11 or the Under Armour Camp Series, how helpful were those days for you to say, well, I am this guy. I can be this guy?
I'd say that played a big role in just the trajectory of where I'm wanting to go this season. Just there were so many, like, big time recruits that were there at the Elite 11 and the Under Armour camp as well. Just being, like, standing toe to toe with them and getting to compete with them in every drill. And then hearing from the staffs from the Under Armour and the Elite 11 that they thought I threw one of the best, if not the best that day. It just helps your confidence go for sure that you can throw against anybody you want to and compete with anybody you want to.
Yeah, the Elite 11, Under Armour, like, there's Bryce Underwood, the number 1 ranked player in the country in the class of 2025, according to some people. He's a quarterback. He's from 2 hours away up in Belleville, Michigan. When you get a chance to go head-to-head with a guy like that, do you feel like you're being overlooked nationally? And this is your moment to stamp the table for yourself. Like, if you were in Texas, if you were at Cincinnati Moeller, do you feel like people would be talking about you more in the last year than they have been?
I would say so, just because it's, like, bigger and, like, there's more, I'd say, like, chance for opportunity. It helps that those schools have, like, players like me all the time coming through there. So the fact that it's happened to me, they kind of got that stuff earlier than I did. So I'd say it helps to be in a big, like, he won 2 state championships his first 2 years. So I'd say just things like that just kind of promote that you quicker than, a small town like this does. But
you're going this week. This is LSU. You're going to LSU this week. You're going to Alabama. You're going to Mississippi State. You've got a 2-day visit planned in Ann Arbor at Michigan where you'll camp up there. Obviously, a lot of people who are going to watching this, which are primarily Ohio State fans, are like, well, Tavien, you don't need to do anything else. You've got the Ohio State offer. Why would you wait? What are you hoping to gain over the next couple weeks and the next couple months, just from a knowledge standpoint and maybe just the ability to compare and contrast? I mean, what are you really hoping to get out of this next couple months?
I'd say it's mostly just the chance to see everything I can.
Yeah.
That was one thing that Coach Dennis kind of, told me, like, it's up to you whether you want to go out and see everybody or just kind of, stay
right
here. But he encouraged me to do that, just see what's out there. Because at the end of the day, I got to make the decision that's best for me.
Yeah.
So, going to see.
Can't worry about the clothes everyone in your life has in their closet.
Right. So, just going to get these opportunities to go see places that people in my family and people around here never get to see is just something that I thought would be beneficial for me, and also just seeing the top programs in the country, each one of them. So,
you've been to Ohio State a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that you've ever been there at what I would consider like a fully comprehensive recruiting visit, right? You go there for a camp, you get a chance to talk to coaches a little bit. Game day visits, despite what people watching may think, like game day visits, you're walking to the stadium, game ends, you're pretty much on the way home. You get maybe hello, how are you from the coaches, good to see you, but it's not like an opportunity to see everything that the school has to offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
When does that happen at Ohio State, especially now that the offer is on the table and now it becomes a realistic thing where you have to actually be concerned about all those other parts? When are you going to do that?
I talked to my parents about this a few days ago. I think now that the offer is there, it won't be as much of just like enjoying the night. Like I'll actually have to evaluate,
yeah,
and see what I like versus what I like somewhere else, and just because now that the offer is there, I mean, if they want me to come to their school, like they're gonna have to put an investment in me too,
yeah,
like, to make sure I have a good day and things like that, and it's not just out there with 100 other recruits, like just make me feel like I'm not just a part of the big group. So, I'd say the next time I'm there for a game will probably be the time I do so, or if, when I come back for the camp in the summer.
Yeah. With all this stuff swirling around, with all of the recruiting noise, with all of the pressure of being the first guy out of here in 30 years to be D1, all that stuff, at what point do you step back and just to get an opportunity to appreciate how rare and unique this is? Like, has it hit you at all, or do you still just sort of float, worrying about cleaning the garage?
I'd say getting the Ohio State offer kind of like opened my eyes a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just because they're like, not that like Tennessee or Penn State or programs like that aren't big. It's just like the ones like Ohio State that are in the college football playoff like every year. It's just like there's a different level of excellency. And it's just, now I can kind of see like the chance to get the opportunity to play at a university like that is not a lot of people get to do that. So it's just been easier for me to kind of sit back and just like admire what's going on and not really, when I had the smaller ones before, it was more just like getting a chance to play college football. Now it's like big time.
You're from Ohio. Does it matter to play at Ohio? Like, do you think that being an Ohio kid with a chance to play at Ohio State, do you feel like it means something more? Or let's put aside the next however many months it takes for you to make a decision. Do you begin recruiting kids now already for wherever you go? Because you're a quarterback. People expect you to be the leader, right? So everywhere you go over the next month, you go to LSU, you go to Alabama, you're going to run into kids that have Ohio State offers or Alabama offers or Tennessee offers. Like, do you begin to start thinking ahead now? Or is it still a matter of this is about figuring out what Tavien needs? Because you're the leader. Whenever you decide to commit, that black book that you've accumulated along the way will become important. Do you start to think about that at all?
Right. I'd say I've started to think about it, but I'd say it's not going to really take shape until I commit somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm going to Alabama for a camp and I'm like trying to talk somebody into coming to Alabama and then I don't go to Alabama, it's just kind of, it's different. But, I mean, that thought's popped up for sure. I'm definitely going to do that once I commit somewhere, but not right now.
You'll figure out who you like, who you don't like, who you vibe with, who you don't.
Right.
As you start to write out the lists, this is what a school has to have, this is what I'm willing to settle on, or this, what's at the top of the must-have list now that you actually have to start thinking about a decision. I mean, it's 16 months until you sign anywhere, but again, as a quarterback, there's an expectation that you're the leader and that you're the guy who maybe goes first. Right. So how do you start narrowing things down?
Earlier this year, like throughout the process when it was just like Illinois and Minnesota and schools like that, I would say it was mostly just, I talked to Coach Brown about the feel. It has to like feel right. But now I'd say it's kind of moved into I actually have to evaluate the coaches as well, like how they develop a quarterback, what their plans for me is and things like that. Because if they're just trying to get if they're just trying to get a 4-star quarterback to their campus just for the stars.
For the clout, right.
Yeah, then it's not somewhere I want to be. I actually want to get developed so I can go to the NFL one day. So.
Well, but since you gave up baseball, I guess that's the way you have to do it.
Right.
Unfortunately. Is there a timeline? I mean, I know I've read like maybe a year from now. Is it a matter of the combination of if this feels right and the coaching staff is right and I know where they can get me? Does that timeline shift? Is it based, or is it a hard line? This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I mean, I've said just like a year from now or, possibly later, just because like, I don't want to commit somewhere and then get altered to change that, because that's not what I want to do. I want to be committed somewhere and stay committed. So it was just to get the best opportunity. But, after this whole camp season and things like that, it'll kind of get easier, I think. And I don't really have a certain timeline for when, but just like you said, you kind of know when it'll be the right time. So.
Well, you have a lot to figure out starting this week with a trip to beautiful Baton Rouge. Try the beignets if you're down there. Have you ever had a beignet?
No, sir.
It's like a donut, but it's just in a bag of powdered sugar. And it's a Louisiana thing. I'm sure you'll have a beignet by the time it's over. Right. And we'll see you at Ohio State on the 15th of June, and then the 21st for a 7-on-7. So plenty of opportunities to get more of that exposure under your belt. And basically, the road begins now, I guess, for you to figuring out what's right for you. So that's all I need from you. Tavien St. Clair here at Bellefontaine High School. I'm Jeremy Birmingham on the podcast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.